Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to our latest webcast that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly as part of our Roadmap to Recovery series. And I'm delighted to be joined today by Zoe Harris, who is Chief Customer Officer at On the Beach. So, morning, Zoe, how are you?
Good morning, very well. Nice to join you.
Well, we're delighted to have you here today of all days, because you've just announced that after a few months of not selling holidays, you've put them back on sale. Quite significant, because you made the announcement back in May that you weren't going to be selling holidays because of the disruption in the industry. We'll talk about that, but you put them back on sale with also an offer around COVID testing. So perhaps you'd like to tell us what you've been doing.
Yeah, that's right. So we're back on sale for amber and green destinations. And we've got an offer which is for customers who book a holiday in September going to Cyprus, Spain or Greece, on the Greek islands and Spanish islands, that we will give them COVID tests if they travel this year. So that's the test you need to come back into the UK and the test that you need on day 2. So we've partnered with Collinson to do that. And really, it's us creating over £1 million fund to get people on holiday again. And we think that this is really part of what we want to do to get consumer confidence back in travel after a couple of years of huge disruption.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the figure there of £1 million. And this is not going to be a cheap exercise, is it? I mean, there's lots of talk about the cost of testing and it being quite a barrier for people. And I think you did some research, didn't you, that this was one of the significant obstacles for people thinking about traveling, the cost of the tests.
That's right. I think we've seen a change in the consumer sentiment that we've been monitoring throughout COVID. So whilst through the summer, we were seeing that customers really were unsure and hesitant about traveling because they were worried about those holidays being cancelled or last minute, or not being sure about what would be required of them. We're seeing a slight shift now, which is that customers are more confident. They've seen some consistency now in the traffic light ratings, but that it's the cost of the COVID tests in particular and the hassle of having to sort them out and make sure you've got the right ones, which is holding them back from booking. So with this COVID test promotion that we've got running, we think that we're firstly helping customers with the cost of that so that they really know what they're signing up to at the time they book a holiday, but also that we're taking away some of the sort of holiday admin that they would have to do in researching what tests they need themselves as well.
Yeah, and just to clear up the logistics of this, once they book a holiday, does that automatically they then get sent the tests, or how does it work?
Yeah, they get sent the 2 tests by DPD 14 days before they travel. And one of those tests they take away with them on holiday, and one they leave at home to do when they return, which is what's called the day 2 PCR.
Yeah, and you say 14 days before they travel, but some people might be booking for, if you're saying that it's got to be this, it could be quite immediate. Lots of people are trying to get away, aren't they, very quickly? So how would that work if they want to go really quickly?
Yeah, so I should have said it's for holidays taking place in at least 2 weeks' time. So to make sure that we get those tests to them in good time. But they can book those holidays for October, November, December, or the end of September, and they're able to take part in the offer.
Yeah, okay. And so do you see yourselves extending it? I know it's for bookings, at the moment it's for bookings made in September. Do you think this will be extended, or presumably that would cost a whole load more money if you did that?
Yeah, I think for now we're going to see how September goes. We definitely think that with the volumes that we're talking about, that we'll get enough customers back on holiday in the swing of the testing. We can help build consumer confidence through word of mouth and from the number of customers that have successfully done the testing, and it has all gone smoothly and been quite straightforward. So for now, yeah, it's a September only promotion.
And also you've limited it to, I guess, the core destinations. Do you see yourself extending that to other destinations? And also it looks like it's England, Northern Ireland and Scottish customers, but not Wales. So why is that?
There's different regulations in Wales. So currently, if you're returning to Wales, you need to use an NHS, pay for an NHS test yourself, which isn't something that we can logistically deal with. But we're hopeful that those Welsh regulations will change to come in line with Scotland. Scotland changed on Saturday, so you can imagine there were some last minute changes for us on this promotion to get it valid for Scottish customers too. So we anticipate Wales will change. And then destination wise, really, we've kept it to those destinations which are most popular with our customers, but also that have the most straightforward entry requirements. So not those destinations where you require a test before you arrive, etc. So we can be very consistent with our messaging to our customers that the advice we're giving them and the tests we're giving them have them fully covered for the holiday that they're taking.
Yeah, and then beyond September, when you've got the offer for free testing, deal you have with the testing company, will that stay in place, that you'll still be able to offer it as a service, albeit one that might be paid for then for customers? Will you still work with that company and still offer tests?
Yes, we did obviously lots of reviews of the partner that we wanted to work with, and the Collinson test provider that we're working with has got a new way of delivering the tests that we're confident will mean that customers can be rest assured that they'll get them in good time before they travel.
Okay, all right. Okay, and so let's also talk about, as well as the going back on sale and the COVID test offer, you also launched a new normal booking pledge. And this is to do with refunding customers should there be a problem. You're saying that you're going to offer a full cash refund in line with consumer law. So I wonder if you can explain that. Now, will that be a refund of the full package, or will it be just for the accommodation part? Because obviously before there was a lot of talk, because you were not refunding on the flight element if that flight was going ahead still. And there's it was quite controversial at the time. It caused you to leave ABTA. So can you explain to us what this new pledge is?
Yeah, so the pledge, that part of the pledge is around if the holiday is cancelled, so if the flight doesn't go ahead, and then what we're saying there, and we are calling out, it's consumer law, it's what we should all be doing anyway, but that we will refund within 14 days. And obviously we understand at the start of the kind of pandemic, it was very difficult for any holiday company to deal with the logistics of refunding customers. But as I'm sure you know as well, On the Beach has given always cash back to our customers. We haven't done refund credit notes. We haven't kind of tried to entice customers to take those refund credit notes rather than cash that we're very confident they would prefer to have. And the 14-day bit, again, is something we should all be doing. It's part of consumer law, but it just makes it clear to customers that On the Beach is very proud that we have been able to do that and have got our kind of operational house in order, if you like, to be able to do that at times through COVID when there's been really high volumes of customers requiring refunds.
Okay, so just to be clear, if the flight is going ahead but the customer wants to cancel their holiday, they would only get a portion of what they paid back still. That's still your stance.
That's right. This is for holidays which are cancelled rather than a customer chooses to cancel a holiday. Yeah. But we can, the other parts of the promise is that we'll move the holiday dates if they want to do that without charging any On the Beach admin fees as well. And we have our COVID insurance promise too as part of this pledge, which means that if a customer can't travel because they've got a COVID infection, then they're entitled to a refund as well.
Okay, all right, that's clear. Let's just talk about customers then, because I'm sure even though you've not been selling them holidays for the summer, you've still been in touch with them. And what was the reaction like to you not selling holidays? Did you lose a lot of customers? Did they go elsewhere to book a holiday where they could? Or if you just got loads of pent-up demand because they want to book with On the Beach? What was the reaction like?
It was really well received by our customers. You're right. We obviously monitor that response from them. We knew before we stopped selling holidays for July and August that they had real concerns about booking those holidays, very, very much latent demand. There was obviously some customers and consumers that were happy to travel through July and August and were still booking quite late. And our view was, well, we accept that you might book with someone else, but our priority here is protecting our customers in the long term and only sending holidays that we have relative confidence, given it's a pandemic and none of us have experienced this before, that those holidays will go ahead if that's cancellation or disruption or unexpected costs being incurred.
Yeah. Well, at the time, I think Simon Cooper, your CEO, he said, we want to, not selling holidays is doing the right thing for our customers. We want to do right by them. And yet when we wrote some stories about it, so I have to tell you, I'll just kind of read out some of the comments. It wasn't universally popular, let's say. I mean, people were saying, it's a cheap attempt at a moral high ground marketing. It's trying to position themselves as a consumer champion, which is a joke given that they weren't paying full refunds. Horrible company. I mean, there was quite a lot. So I'm saying it not to be difficult, just to, I guess, present that alternative view, because there were some people who felt it was a bit of a PR stunt. What would you say to that? And I guess with hindsight now, you've got a few months under your belt. Are you obviously still pleased then that you made this, or you took this stance?
Yeah, definitely. The response from our customers and the vast majority of feedback we had was hugely positive. And they were really delighted that there was a holiday company saying, look, we're not sure how these holidays are going to go. And so our recommendation is that you don't book right now whilst there is so much uncertainty. And we were very aware that some customers might go and book elsewhere. Some consumers would do that. But we felt that for our customers, given what we'd experienced over right up until the time we stopped selling holidays, was that the amount of distress caused by even having to move dates of a holiday was quite significant. There's big groups of people here involved trying to, I mean, I had it set myself with my family going on a camping trip to France. It's chaos trying to decide what to do. Do we move it? Do we stick with it? Do we move it to next year? How do you all get your holiday dates aligned? And really what we wanted to do through this was do our very best to protect our customers and to protect our reputation in the longer term. So we took the view that we were more interested in still having those customers when demand returns, so through the rest of this year and next year, when let's hope we're all back on holiday again, rather than trying to take a very small number of bookings for holidays that we wouldn't be sure would go ahead. And actually, I think it was only 25% of our holidays went ahead in July and August, those that had been booked pre-May before we stopped selling new holidays, that went ahead as planned. So 75% of those holidays, either got moved or cancelled, or the customer decided they didn't want to go. So I think what we saw in terms of those customers that we already had booked, as well as the consumer appetite for booking new holidays, that we absolutely made the right decision. And look, the other part of this was we wanted to be able to help the customers that we already had booked on holidays and prioritise putting our customer service team to do their very best to be speedy and prompt in helping those customers that did need to make changes or had their holidays cancelled. And again, learning, I think, from the previous year when we were all caught unawares, to make sure that we were able to do our very best for the customers that we had booked and those that hadn't yet booked with us, for us felt the right thing to do. And really it's about, I think we really want a kind of sustained return to travel. That's what we've been saying since May. That the uncertainty, the changing in traffic lights, the sort of upset and disruption to customers really risks long-term consumer confidence in our industry unless we think more long-term about how we act in the decisions that we make.
Okay. And you mentioned there that you were able to put your customer service team, enable them to prioritize those people that had bookings. And what happened to the rest of the team? Did you sort of hibernate for a bit over the summer, or were your team still involved in forward bookings? I don't know from what date. I know when you say you weren't selling for summer, presumably you were still selling for a point in time, whether it was 22 onwards, perhaps you can let me know. But I mean, were they dealing with forward bookings and then the existing ones and just not taking any new bookings, or did you let some people go on furlough, or how did it work?
Our teams have been pretty busy through the summer. As I said, lots of those holidays were cancelled or the customer chose to move them themselves to later in the year. And so for that, and for us to make sure that we were doing our best to inform customers about the options that they had in good time, which again was something that was really important to us as we'd had more experience of the sort of very last minute nature that some of these things can change. I remember when Portugal was green and then went back to amber and people trying to get home and all of that. So yeah, our teams have been pretty full on, I think, in the bookings that we already had.
Okay. And then in terms of the future bookings then, Zoe, when were you taking forward bookings? At what point, was it just July and August really, and obviously this first week of September that you'd stopped, and were you taking bookings thereafter?
That's right. Yeah. I think the reason that there were a couple of things that meant it was July and August predominantly, and that was firstly it's school holidays. So it's much harder for a family whose children are needing to go back to school in September to be able to move that holiday if they need to. We knew that around this time it's more likely to be couples and adults who are a bit more flexible or less stuck to having to travel in a very few weeks of the year, especially once summer holidays are over. You've then got October half term or Christmas, right? So that was one thing. And then we've also been tracking very closely the vaccination levels in our main destination resorts, and we could see that there was a kind of at one point about an 8-week lag behind what was happening in the UK. And so we had a sense that by this time we'd all be in a more similar level with the vaccination and then infection rates in other countries as well. So a few things and a few data points that helped us make that decision about July and August in particular.
Yeah. So in terms of 22 and onwards, how well are you booked? Where are you seeing demand? You know, are you confident? You know, you talk here about how you know you're putting all this back in place because you're encouraged by the, you know, more people being fully vaccinated, etc. So looking ahead, then just give us an idea of where you sit in terms of sort of trading for the future.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing green shoots over the last couple of weeks, which is really encouraging. We would say that it's still below a normal year, of course. There's a change in booking patterns, but some of that's because customers have moved holidays from this year to next year. So
right, yeah, they don't need to book. They don't need to book.
Yeah, so it's hard to really to compare, and those comparisons will be less meaningful, I think. All very important that you pick below the data when you get it from various holiday companies as to what their base was and what they're really talking about. But certainly the increases that we've seen others talk about through the summer were not things that we felt were perhaps quite accurate about what was really happening. Of course, you might have 100% uplift, but if it's off a very tiny base, then it's not really a massive shift. But we are seeing more significant increases now. Greece is very popular for the end of September. Obviously, the Canaries always at this time of year are popular. So we are seeing an uplift now, and consumers coming to the site into our website at greater volume, but also with greater intent. So we are seeing their behaviours changing slightly now. So as I said, I think we've got some more consumer intent now for booking a holiday. And we're hoping with this free COVID promotion, that COVID test promotion, that we really help them overcome some of the logistical issues that they've now got about going on holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's only early days. It's only been a couple of hours that you've been back on sale, but I'm sure you've been watching and monitoring it. What have the phones been like, or the website? Have you seen you know, big uplifters today?
Yeah, we're seeing some higher volumes on the site. You're right, it's a couple of hours, so we'll wait and see. We are obviously talking to our customers about this later this week. So for now, really, it's very early days to say what's happening, but we're encouraged and very happy to come back and talk to you about that in a couple of weeks when we've got a better sense of how it's going.
Well, we'll hold you to that, Zoe. We'd love to know how it goes for you. Final question. I mentioned it earlier. You obviously made the decision to leave ABTA. Has you know, not having the badge on your website had a big impact on customers?
I think that what we know that the ATOL protection that we offer with our holidays is really important to our customers, and one of the things that we talk about a lot. So I think there's a bit of consumer confusion about the difference between the two. So for us, it's quite difficult to unpick from a customer perspective the difference that each of those might make, if I'm honest.
Okay, all right. So nothing significant so far, no impact there. All right. Well, Zoe, thank you very much for your time today. As I say, we'd be delighted to welcome you back and to tell us how things are going. You know, and the promotion with the free COVID testing as well. So really grateful for your time today.
Lovely. Thank you very much.